Right, this is my mega base. I've been playing this game, I think, longer than I've ever played a game of Rimworld before. It's 16 years in game. It all started with this character, Rum. I did that solo explorer start where it's just him and a load of supplies, and that has grown into this massive, great behemoth of a base with, surrounded by gun turrets and more supplies than you could ever need, and loads of fancy stuff going on. I'm using the royalty expansion because my plan is to do that quest line that ends with you host the Emperor. So I've made this sort of nice bedroom for the Emperor, and then you get attacked by loads of different groups, which I think might end up being a bit of an anticlimax now, given the way that the base is defended. But that's my goal, and I'm also using the ideology expansion. And I made a really basic ideology for this colony, and then have just upgraded it to suit my needs as I've gone along. So the main thing I've done is make everyone a transhumanist. So that's like they can have all the bionic bits, which makes them really strong and robotic and makes them good at doing all their jobs and good at fighting and stuff like that. But what I didn't realise is it makes them all need to sort of go through a de-aging process once a year. So I've got this set up here, which uses up so much power, and I do them in groups of 8, let them all de-age in sections. And they also like to have a neural supercharge, which just makes them smarter and quicker and stuff anyway, so that's not really a problem. I also changed it so that they venerate horses. They really like horses. Just because it seems like you need horses anyway, so why not make it so they like having horses around? And this one here is called Myrtle, who has been in the colony as long as it's been going, so 16, 17 years. I think I looked up, horses are supposed to live for 20 years in Rimworld, so she's gone way over. She's got a bad back. She has like episodes from her dementia at least once every few days, and then just goes off in a state, but always seems okay. She's had several heart attacks, and she must have birthed like 50 foals by now, but she's still going. She's a part of the colony. It'll be very sad if she dies. Might make something for her. So that's one part of it. What else is there? So like a little look around. I've got, you have really fancy stuff eventually because you amass so much goods. So, really elaborate sculptures and golden tables and royal beds and fine carpet everywhere. There's paving all over the base. Paving, I've tried to pave around most of the outside of the base so fires can't really do any damage to the gun turrets, but that does take so much resource up. One of the main issues, probably the main issue really, is just maintaining the power of the base. Because it requires so much, and you have to store so much in case there's an issue. The main way I've ended up managing it, all the geysers, all the thermal ones that I've got, have been tapped a long time ago, and I have some solar panels. But the main thing is I've just built wind turbines around sort of most of the edge space of the base, and that seems to do it. And it fluctuates up and down wildly, but it's enough that everything runs, and we very rarely run out of power. The other trick that's really difficult is just producing enough components. Everything needs components at this stage of the game. Everything's constantly breaking and needs more components. All the gun turrets need like 6 components each to build. So I ended up, I've got these 3 main people that do crafting, that are really good at crafting. And I've used some of the transhumanist stuff to make that work better. So they've all got circadian half cyclers, which mean they don't need to sleep. They've all got bionic stomachs, so they don't need to eat as much, and legs and arms. And also they have luciferium, which brings their consciousness up. So they're basically constantly awake. They hardly need to eat, and they just sit in here and craft like 24 hours a day, which is a miserable existence. But I've made it nicer by this character, Brash. He sits and sculpts nice artwork all day, but I've jammed a joy wire in his head, which makes him really happy, and then given him a psychic harmonizer, so he kind of broadcasts that happiness in a local radius. So as long as they're sitting near Brash while he's doing his sculpting, they're fine. They're having a lovely time. The only thing I didn't consider with that is, and that I didn't consider at all with the transhumanist stuff, is that you do get some pawns who have the trait, what's it called, body purist, which means they don't like any bionic parts or anything like that. So the mistake I made with that is Rum, the leader, is a body purist, and I gave him bionic legs at the very beginning, and then it made him miserable. He had this kind of squeamish debuff, so I had to then remove those legs and wait until I had this kind of mech healing serum to regrow his legs much later in the game. So he was miserable for a while. But the issue with Brash is he's married to Lynx. I didn't realise this when I was, filling in with bionic parts. But he's married to Lynx, who is a body purist, which means she has minus 40 body purist disgust of him. But she got some loving from him, and they had a deep talk, so that makes up. And also, I think, I've put a love enhancer in him, which makes their intimate times more enjoyable. So, you can't take the rough with the smooth in that sense. I think that's about it, really. I've got, you run out of space to store things, so you have these areas where, like quite ugly storage areas, but you just need them because of the sheer amount of steel and uranium and plasteel and stuff you need to keep. And then this room here, the main storage room, just gets overflowing all the time. So many clothes they get through, suits of armor and stuff like that. I've got a sort of hospital there. I kind of expanded as far as I could, and then I sort of ran out of space. So some of the rooms are just about as big as they possibly can be. This is like their temple, I think. They have speakers, so they have a party every now and then. These plasma swords for when they have a duel. So that's for the temple, and then I have this very elaborate throne room where two of the characters come to meditate, and I got a sacred idol, or whatever it's called, through that quest line. So occasionally pilgrims come and they pray at the sacred idol. But yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to show the base as it is. I'm going to try and finish the game soon, so I wanted to capture it, see what it looked like before I finish the game.